is something. Real quick high definition audio. Hi guys.
Hit me!
Episode 347.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
Ooh, I haven't heard that in a while. That
No.
and Trent part.
I need to start enunciating my name the same way that he does, because like it's bookended by T's, but I don't feel like I ever say it that way.
Trent Hunsakert.
Yeah, Trent.
Is it are you saying it comes across as Hunsakert at the end there?
It's just my first name.
Trent.
Yeah, because it's normally just the last T so soft always is Trent.
There you go. By the
Yeah.
way, welcome to all of our not one lovers, but Modocs and above, I believe. I think it's the level 2 for y'all on the Patreon catching live video right now. And if you're listening to this or watching it after the fact, hi everybody. This was private a few days ago for the subscribers of our Patreon, patreon.com/netheadsonair. I'd like to also take this opportunity to welcome both as a Patreon subscriber and the latter being a resubscriber. Welcome to Zach Byerly, and welcome back to Sean Hogarty, also known as Vaca Boca, as you may remember.
Vaca Boca. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Which, by the way, I found out where the name is sourced from. Vaca Boca is Vacaville, so Holmes grew up in my area, and there was some other Boca related thing, which was, I think, a place they hung out or something. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean it's Spanish. It's a cow mouth.
Cow. Yeah, Vaca Boca. That's what I always thought it was.
Yeah.
That's
So did I.
That's in all seriousness. That's what I thought. It was just like a talkie cow. I mean, because
Yeah.
it's a name that makes up two different things, but at the same time makes perfect sense.
And like, I guess you would call that, well, be it sexual or not, I still think it classifies as an entendre.
Yeah, I'll allow it, Trent. I'll allow it. Anyway, welcome everybody. If you want to take part in the program, you can one of many ways after the fact, because we're doing this live. Supposedly, if you click on, I guess, the YouTube link, that this is an unlisted live YouTube. If you click on the link proper, you could get to like the page where it's playing, and there would be the theory of interacting via chat. And that is my hope, that the chat will work, because I have the interface. I've got it over here on my right. Speaking of interfaces, special shout out as well to Tony Abdullah, who subbed in for you during the show, because he and his podcast partners introduced me to Video Ninja, which, Trent, I think you have an initial reaction on this that we're using to share. You can see me via it, and I can share your video directly in here. What do you think?
Trenny likey.
Yeah, you know what I like about it? It's a true diversity call. You can speak, and my audio is not going to tromp over yours. And it's even bringing your audio in. Oh, technically, you're probably coming in twice, actually. I think. We'll see. I'll have to take a look at it. But it also brings your audio in over the connection as well.
Yeah, and it's guys, I can't like. If you're watching us, you probably have your own podcast. Let's be honest, or something of the like, right? But
Yeah.
like, man, like these guys have got it dialed in.
Yeah.
Like, and I do video conferencing, like set up quite a bit of it for professionally, and like we have nothing that's this nice.
Yeah, but it's also simple. It's extremely basic,
Yeah.
and crazy enough, free. So whatever. I'm thrilled
Don't
with it.
say.
Yeah, because my whole thing is as always, my sole interest is driven both in simplicity and also being able to bring you in quality. And when Tony subbed in, unfortunately, we did have a situation where through the broadcast, his connectivity became unstable, and so he became pixelated. And that's the risk, because naturally, I'm a coward. I'm getting captured right into the streaming computer. That's where my camera's going. You're seeing me on a secondary one. But you are just coming in via this URL. And by the way, I did think in advance that your direct audio feed is muted because I can't hear that computer, but your audio mix is still coming through.
It's coming through, but yeah.
I'd also like to address something. If you go, not that I want to push anyone to my TikTok, but if you are hearing a weird noise in the background and you go to the only video I will probably have posted on July 14th, you'll see what that sound is. The people at Living AI have they've done an update to the little robot whose name I won't say, but it comes across as being very sad and emotional. They've added new, they call them events. So he has random events scheduled through the day of things he will do, and they're animations on the screen. Basically, it's not really interactive. And right now, it looks like he's watching an old time television, like an old TV with antennas. And I don't know if he's enjoying the show and cooing along with it, or if it's a show about pigeons. But that's the noise it's making. Now, I will say, these are great to have because, it makes the character a little more entertaining when he's just sitting on his charger, because he can't charge himself like our good friend Vector here can.
Right.
However, when you're trying to have a video conference for work and suddenly there's a little cooing pigeon on your desk and you've quickly got to hit mute and tell it to shut up in the polite terms that it understands, it's troublesome.
Yeah, assuming you at least have the wherewithal to have a mute button, right? Like so many people that I have interacted with, that's not even an option for them.
Well, let's see if I said the right command or not, because I just yelled at him and I said mute. So, but they are the things that he's doing, they are very entertaining little animations, but they have nothing to do with AI. And also, I don't know. I think back about when he was set up, and there was something they said about like the first 7 days. I'm worried I just neglected this one, because if he comes off the power station and is meandering about the desk, more often than not, he will just have his back turned to me, Trent. Yeah, he's got...
So not unlike a impressionable mammal in its adolescency and pre-adolescency, it went through a sense of imprinting of which you did not, apparently.
That's what I'm thinking, possibly.
Okay.
But
sure.
The good news is, Trent, it's not like a human baby. I can probably just factory reset him.
Yeah. Just do a Control-Alt-Delete on that bitch.
Yeah, we'll just do it over. And this is the kind of amazing tech talk you get right here on NetHeads, guys. So anyway, that's been happening in my life, and that's interesting. But hey, it's been like a month and a half or more.
It's been a minute, dude.
How you doing, man? What have you been up to?
Just it's getting hot like it is everywhere. Not just in this half of the hemisphere, but the world. But aside from that, it's getting warmer. Playing with the dog, doing chores, and working as always.
Yeah, I've been thinking about you because I think we've discussed in the past, we have like a temperature variance of only about 5 degrees, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm hitting 100, I know you're hitting 95, I think is what we worked out, that kind of thing?
Yep. Yeah, yesterday's high.
Yeah, yesterday's high of 95?
Yep.
Oh, then we kind of matched up. You were actually warmer than us, I think. I don't know, though. I'm not going to... Look, let's not be old people sitting around talking about the weather.
Talking about the weather.
But,
it's so hot.
But I do get it because, whenever I think of my good friend in Logan, Utah, the very first thing I think is that, this is a guy that lives in a place where you get snow in the winter and it gets hot in the summer. So, by the way, did you hear about the recent news that I think the Salt Lake from which the city derives its name I've heard it's going to be gone in a couple of years?
So, I was listening, I can't remember what I was listening to the other day, but how just everyone needs to stop using the term drought, because a drought implies it's temporary, and what we're experiencing is not temporary anywhere, right? Like, this is the way it is now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's drying up quite a bit. And which is sad. And there's a certain species of brine shrimp that's only found in the Great Salt Lake, which is a thing that they're trying to figure out, because that does get harvested for some things. And the biggest concern though is all of this stagnant salt water dries up and will then turn into a toxic dust cloud.
Mm-hmm.
That will then blow around in the valley of the Great Salt Lake and just be blowing like toxic dust into everyone's faces.
Well, that's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that part too. So
Yeah.
yeah, but you bring up a good point, because I know it's been several years since the most impactful El Nino I remember, which was in probably the late 90s, given where I was working at the time, because there was like literal flooding on my routes. And it seems like a couple years after that, California entered into a drought that has, other than one good year, which is the only reason why I think they can legally still say it's a drought.
Right? Yeah.
Is that? Oh, by the way, too, as long as we're talking about crazy news, something else happened that I just thought was amazing, and I hope it sets a precedent. And that is that the governor of California announced that California is going to start making its own insulin, so that they can start selling it to diabetics at a much lower cost. Uh-oh, I lost audio on you, Trent.
And that it's kind of funny that you bring that up, because that is like the when I say medical industry, I mean like all assets of it, right? But in particular, the pharmaceutical side is their worst nightmare is to have to compete with an entity that doesn't have to have necessarily it is looking at cost recovery rather than profit recovery,
right?
Or profit gain, right? Because that would essentially drive the free market would drive their cost or their price down to be actually. I mean, essentially that was the whole idea of single pay insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Right, is that it forces other places to be competitive.
Yeah. Which
so,
makes
yeah.
this leads me to believe that one of the next things that they're going to announce is that we're probably also then going to start making EpiPens kind of thing, because I think that's the other high.
Is there a big demand for EpiPens?
I just think there's been some major price gouging by pharma bros that bought the formula. You know what I mean? Or bought the product. So, but I don't know. I have no idea, but I just thought that was an interesting and it's a weird kind of news. It's a weird kind of world we live in.
Maybe I'm sure this is not just Utah specific. Speaking of insulin, Salt Lake City hospitals are reporting that children, they're seeing a large rise in the children who are being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and they're linking it to COVID. Children that got it have now got type 1. This isn't type 2. This is like your pancreas died. Shit. And you have to get insulin shots the rest of your life.
Yeah, well, I mean, funny you bring that up, Trent. How children with COVID getting diabetes could lead into the 3D printing segment, but we'll get there. That's shocking. I hadn't actually heard that. I mean, I've heard a lot of things, and just like long-term complications, blood clotting. I don't know. I haven't looked at the science of any of it though, so I'm not saying if there's a difference in, let's just call them long haul or organ damage. Right. Either of those cases, if there's a higher instance in unvaccinated versus vaccinated, you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if the alleviation of symptoms in the long run gets you to where, you still or do not suffer the long haul situations or organ damage. So
yeah, and then I think they're still in the early stages. It's just a correlation that they've pinpointed. Now they've got to start doing a lot more research about it all, and just here in Salt Lake. So I don't know if this is like a national thing or just specific to here.
Yeah, and this actually is important to me because I have not yet had it. Okay, I have not had COVID. I have not.
Oh, I remember those days, Will.
Oh,
Trent,
you
I was fancy free and cocksure of myself, thinking I was going to be the one. I was going to be the one.
I know. I'm still in the contest of Highlanders, my friend.
Good for you, man. I'm rooting for you because God damn it.
I thank you for that. Is there anything you want to share about that?
Oh no, just the only I had 3 days of that I was like super sick, and then after that, on the fourth day, just fine. However, couldn't smell or taste anything for a week. Craziest thing ever. I'm out. It didn't dawn on me until I was out spraying weeds, and the stuff I use is intense. And I normally have to wear a mask just because of the smell. And then I was spraying. I'm like, it's weird. It doesn't smell this year. Oh, I can't taste anything either. Okay. All right. This makes sense.
You remind me of that girl. It was a TikTok. She's sitting in her car and she's like, oh, I can't taste anything. And then there's just like this look of acknowledgement on her face. She's like, I can't taste anything. And then, how long ago was this?
March maybe.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't like, hey, you want to put this around that time.
Yeah.
I still haven't, but I'm now going to follow that up with the next most idiotic statement you would make after saying, I haven't had COVID yet. You ready for it, Trent?
I connected the dots. I know what you're going to say. Go for it.
I'm going to Comic-Con next week.
I saw that coming. Yeah. That, which, good on you. I know for a fact that I got mine from working a wrestling show.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
So here's how this is all dovetailing into stuff that's getting 3D printed. I learned in this because there's obligations, things to do, but I learned in this that they are still requiring, they have a mask mandate.
Oh, good.
So
that's good.
You have to wear, and apparently this is what they still did back in November. Given the scenario, they have a mask mandate, and not only if you are wearing a mask, you must provide either negative test result in the last 72 hours or immunization record.
Proof of immunization.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which,
that's the one concert ticket that I got this year. That was the exact same criteria to go in and participate in the concert.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, that's the way it should be. So we'll see. And it was one of those things where it's like, okay, this is going to happen. All right. And then Emily got all excited because now she's 18 and over, and all of Kevin's shows are at their own movies pop-up in San Diego. So they own the venue.
Oh. Yeah.
And there's balcony seating, and we get to sit up in for all the shows. So, it's a lot of good, and she's super excited. And I'm like, and you're wearing a mask like a mother trucker.
Oh, yeah, dude. And think of the marketing opportunities as well, Will, for masks that different vendors can sell.
Funny you should say that. Okay, so let me take you on a journey. We still don't have a fancy... Huh?
That brings up a whole... I never even thought about it. Like, what about cosplay and masks?
Trent! My gosh! I swear to God, everybody that's listening, we did not pre-plan this, but... Have you ever had one of those podcasting moments where everything just fell together inexplicably? Folks, you are living in one of those moments right now. So,
yeah.
First, let me show you. So, we don't have a fancy jingle yet, but we're kind of doing this segment where I show things to Trent, and it's like, guess what I 3D printed this week, and guess what it is. And like one of the things, I've been sitting on a lot of them, Trent. I've been sitting on a lot of them. I've been busy.
I was gonna say, I hope you're using filament plastic then, because that's a little bit softer, I think, right? If you're
Yes,
sitting on it-
definitely. So this is one thing that I printed, Trent. Do you know what this is?
So right off the bat, I can see it's an inclined plane if we're looking at it in terms of
Correct.
simple machinery.
Yes.
It reminds me of like you see it like the Sonoma Williams
Or
cookbook.
William Sonoma.
yeah,
all- this is
yeah. Like what you open up your cookbook on. But I'm gonna suppose
Mhm.
that you instead use it for a laptop.
That would have been an excellent guess, but as you know, when it comes to the laptops, if it's not serving as a screen on my desk, I prefer to have them in a vertical stance. So
Yeah, put it away.
there was precedent, which, by the way, I 3D printed the new stands I used to consolidate space because the fancy wood one I bought was taking up too much. But in a space-saving effort, I found somebody that had put together one of these for elevating their mixer, their audio mixer on their desk.
Shit.
So I've
That's
now
a brilliant idea. Oh, so I had it up. So that's such a good idea.
Yeah, see, there's the feet where it rests. And technically, it's not really big enough for mine, but that's the other reason why this demo one was okay, because I was literally going to cut it and then glue it to the other ones just to extend the surface a bit. But so far, I haven't really needed it. But it's turned the footprint of the roughly 12-inch depth mixer into like an 8 to 6-inch footprint. So it's, well, that's way more than 6 inches. Don't ask me how I know.
If you're gonna, at least if you're me, like there's nothing I mean, there are a lot of things I dislike. One thing I don't like is a mixer that doesn't have sufficient level space, right? Like they'll scrunch everything down. So just like the smallest movement on the level does way more than it should. No, I want like as long as possible to just push that level up.
Yeah, and in this case too, it works out really good. I'm not showing you guys a picture on my desk because it's a waking nightmare. But the mixer now, the other advantage is all of the controls are up like this, so it's much easier to quickly manage things as well. But most importantly, it gave me back the entire desktop, because with that angle shift, it was able to go back just enough to be under the monitors for the cable parts that I almost never touch. Okay. So that's just something I printed. But this one is going to take us in. You're going to see this Comic-Con path through. This, I'm sure you can guess what it is. If you look, what it's trying to be. Now, I will say, though,
Garbage can?
It is.
Like a miniature garbage can.
It's a miniature brute garbage can.
Yeah.
That you can use as a pen holder. However, I saved it in this state because with this one I did two things. It's sitting on a raft. So this is it's basically a plastic piece, and in the printing somehow it air gaps just enough that we should see this peel off. But this helps, like things that can get destabilized, helps them to stay stable during the print.
Totally.
The other thing, instead of completely vertical supports, because if something goes over 90 degrees out, you need a support for it to start on or to continue on.
That is so smart.
So they've come up with a new, in the Creality slicer, Cura, Ultimaker Cura, pardon me. They've come up with these, which are called trees or tree limbs. So that way, when you print these, it uses the least amount of filament possible while building up the best and strongest structure. It's amazing. Been a game changer.
And it doesn't have to deal with a 90-degree angle of if it just went straight down.
Right.
You'd have to work around that the whole time, and that's where you get all those pieces that are always touching it by accident.
Exactly. So I've been really impressed with this. And again, you're going to see how this all ties together. I was actually trying to make a much bigger one of these to put just like some larger tools in as a gag, but it failed halfway through. But I saved this in this state so people watching could see just how easily the supports come off. Right there they went. And now,
wow.
And look at these. It's funny because they're just like hollow
Are they hollow?
tubes now. And last part here, the raft. This is the one everyone waits to see. How easy is it going to come off? Or is it just going to stick and be frustrating? Am I going to have to trim it and sand it? And oh, look at that. Thank you, Grizzled Gnome, for those raft settings, because now it's just the can. Yeah.
Hold up the raft.
It's a hidden Mickey.
Yeah.
It's a frog. I don't know. It's recycling, Trent. That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Never mind.
Okay, so I have one on my desk already as a pen holder. I'm sure this one will go out in the garage now as a pen holder. I actually had to do a filament change midway, which is why it goes from matte black to shiny black. But so now, believe it or not, we're gonna quickly dovetail into the connection here, because it's like, well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know, it's walking around Comic-Con with a KN95 on your face. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
It's a good question, Trent. And if you have a 3D printer, I have an answer for you.
because I can only suspect that like this year and probably last year, everyone just went as like one of the Mortal Kombat ninjas.
Well, narratively speaking, where I found what I'm about to show you, you could get the same thing, like Sub-Zero's mask.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to see why I took you through the journey I did. The mic stand was just, or the mixer stand was just up there. But I specifically showed you the trash can with the supports to prepare you for what you're about to see, because I'm not going to undo this one yet. I have to videotape myself taking it off the face, the plate, so I can repurpose that content elsewhere. Yes, this is the type of person I've now become. Anyway, what you do, Trent, is you say, well, I could have a KN95 over my face, but
Right.
you know who was always ready for the pandemic? Well, that was Bane from The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh shit, son.
And the reason why I had to show you the trash can is because right now, like, this is one of the supports. The supports are actually growing in through this because these spaces are open.
The supports actually look kind of rad.
Yeah, it looks like Bane is being taken over by an alien when you look at this.
It's like Bane in MODOK world, or not MODOK, Mojo world.
Yeah, it just like it got all funkified. It's it's been to the upside down. I don't know. But anyway, so this I can use it one of two different ways, and I'm going to use it in the latter. These spaces are open, but you can print up additional pieces to take a mask and then put the pieces of the mask in there so it's filtered.
Sure.
Same for the open space in the middle of this. You can, again, put mask material there. And then the only thing I have to worry about after finishing it is using a heat gun to make sure it fits my face.
Right.
Make sure that's right. And then just coming up with the appropriate way to kind of make sure this whole area seals against my face, which I think actually, technically speaking, I sleep with a CPAP mask on all the time.
Yeah.
So I kind of have an idea about how I could do that. So I'll be videotaping on the VCR. Can you get the Betamax? Trent, get the Betamax.
We're gonna need a VTR operator to run the graphic for us, I think.
Yeah, come on. Is anyone familiar with Grass Valley? Grass Valley, anyone? Nerds. Look, I wasn't fronting when I said this was a tech program. I can go light, I can go deep. It's whatever you want. Anyway, so I will be using this in conjunction, more than likely just with the KN95 mask.
Yeah.
But I'm probably still going to add the extra filtering after I get it cleared off. But that's the reason why I wanted to prepare you for this, because obviously it doesn't quite look right when you see it, but you can also see where it is. And the only work I really have to do on this is to make sure it's smooth and non-irritating on the inside, and then just like hand paint with some silver paint the tubes, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, other than figuring out how to incorporate these into something that straps on.
I was gonna say, yeah, because his straps across the back of his head, doesn't it?
Oh, he's got a whole 3-point thing that looks very familiar, like my CPAP, because there's the strap that goes this way and there's the over the top one, but we're not doing the over the top one.
Like a referee's mask.
Yeah,
how it has everything.
But I just need to make sure that it does fit and it does have the right way to stay on, because I just don't want to spend the whole day picking it up and picking it up, because it's.
Yeah.
But another one of them is like Immortant Joe from the Mad Max movie. There's one of those. There's also, and I was almost tempted to do this one for Emily, but I don't think she'd wear it. But it's the muzzle portion, the front cone portion of the wasps of Ant-Man and the Wasp's mask.
Oh, where it's this the cylinder type
Yep.
looking thing. Yeah.
And there's also Sub-Zero, and anyway, I'll try to remember to find it again and link it in the show description as well in case anyone cares. But it's just so neat, one, to find out that Comic-Con is doing all of these mandated things that you must comply with, but also then that I can come up with a creative way to do this. Because, Trent, way back in 2019, you may remember I cosplayed as a certain writer, director, actor, entrepreneur, you know?
Yeah, an auteur, if you will.
Yes. I had a purple jacket, jorts, white snapback. Well, I've got the movie's yellow hat now with the horns, so I can do that. And combined with that mask, this is going so meta deep, I would be cosplaying as Kevin Smith performing as Bane as heard on Hollywood Babylon.
I was going to say, now you just need to find someone to come with a Ralph mask.
Yes. Or just get Ralph.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So the only thing
and
is...
have him critique your Bane the whole time.
Yeah. So the only problem with any of this is that at some point, if you think about this, I now have to start watching The Dark Knight Rises a few times just so that I can hit the right moments when I say, like, you know, you embrace the darkness. I was born in it, molded by it, or whatever he says, you know?
Yeah. And obviously you've got to, you know, get the, you know, no one cared who you were before you put the mask on.
No one cared who I was before I put on the mask, you know, but I got to work on it. I got to hear it again. It's been a while.
Yeah. And then distort it through Kevin's voice.
Well, what I was almost tempted to do was just see if I could get one of those really cheap voice changers, but do it straight through so that the mic would be in the mask and then it would just like play from inside the pocket of the jacket.
Yep.
Except I don't think it has an inside pocket. Anyway, or in the pocket of the jacket. Fuck it, I don't know. And that way it just sounds amplified and a little bit weirder. Because, you know, and now I'm cosplaying. Ta-da!
How great would it be to even just go through Hollywood Babylon and pull out all of Kevin's Bane samples?
Mm-hmm. I wonder if we have. I'll have to look back on the catalog. I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Oh my God.
So that was the 3D printing journey of showing how kids with COVID could get you to a Bane mask. Thank you. Good night. I feel like I landed the triple Lindy.
Dude, it was totally on the trail the whole way, right up the trail.
And you literally asked just the right questions at just the right moments.
Yeah.
Is this really just that long-term timing thing that we unspoken? Stack of flapjacks. There are two more things that I did print, though, that I want to share, because one of the things I decided on one of the nutty shows that I was doing solo talking to a camera, I decided that one of the things we could do, I just need to make sure I have it structured the right way, is that one of our Patreon subscribers, regardless of level, could I don't want to say win or earn, nor did they receive in any type of raffle. But when I have a failed, some prints I do, they're close, man. They're really, really close. But something's just a little off that really can't be recovered, right? Without the work I'm completely unwilling to put in on this.
Right.
Which,
yeah, it's easier just to reprint it.
Exactly. Just, let's just set that one again. I'll come back later. But I have a funny story to tell on these. So you have not seen Moon Knight yet. We established this.
The television series, correct.
Correct. But one of the things that's in there that I, of course, had to find the print and do because I already had some expired translucent resin that I needed to go through anyway. And it could be something I could play with. I didn't have to feel too bad about it getting put to shot.
What is the shelf life for resin?
It's about 2 years. 2.
Oh, okay.
And the translucent one I had gotten when I had received when I first got it, and it was probably already mid-year. So one of the things that happens in Marvel's Moon Knight, spoilers, but I know you don't care, is that at one point the god Khonshu is cast into an Ushabti, which is a figurine wherein, and I showed these before already, wherein, but I'm showing you because I showed Tony before. This is an Ushabti. This was done in translucent resin, and it was at this point in the process I also realized, if I just dip the top in here, in the resin and then put them together, it automatically bonds them. So why am I going to try and glue this later? So that was a great learn. Yeah, I'm really proud of myself for finally getting there. But anyway, this is this, and I have a textured sand spray paint that I'm going to use on them. These
Perfect.
ones I'm going to do some tests on, not on these. I have some failures from those as well, where I'm going to test to see if the sand just on this might be a cool effect, because it's already kind of crystal rockish, so it might, anyway.
Yeah.
Preserve some detail without having to put down an extra layer. So like one of the things that we'll be shipping out to somebody somehow, to be determined later, this one, the hand just came out a little too small. It's supposed to be this full thing here. It came out a little too small. So it's going to get painted. It's got a little, but somebody's going to get that. Then
what was the Kristen Wiig character that had the baby hands?
Oh, I don't know. And I'm Charlene. No, I don't know what. I think the name may have changed every time, but I know what you mean. But speaking of which, one of the other things I had done then is I decided, well, would it be a good laugh to send to this guy that I know who I'm probably going to be cosplaying with, would be a customized one of those. And that would be the Moob Shabti, where it is a Moobies figurine. It's Mooby set in the same model.
Well, and not only that, Will, it is not unlike the golden calf to which CEOs were praying to.
Yeah, exactly.
In Dogma.
Yeah, it's very, very close to that similar golden calf. So I'm gonna. But as you can see here, I think it was saying thank you next because the hand raised up instead of bonding where it was. This is an unfinished thing actually. So there's that one, and as such, there's actually a bonus one. So this will buy me an extra month. The print shifted just a little bit in printing, and now it's kind of got this seam line going around because it's just slightly offset. You can't really see it. You don't know if it's there. Other than that, it's great. I mean, it's even got both the hands. This was every one of these projects I undertake is always an amazing learning cycle, because every time it's what, as a complete layman in this practice of 3D printing, it's those things that just kind of nudge you to where you have to evolve a little bit because now you're trying to do something. It would be cool, but
it's just a little bit harder to pull off, so you need to know what you're doing just a little bit more. Yeah. And speaking of which, Will Kent, I asked if he could print me a hat jack, and he totally did.
Oh, I thought you were going to announce an engagement or something.
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
But a hat what? A hat what?
A hat jack.
What's
so
a hat
jack is used. I have no doubt that our good friend from Revelstoke, Jim, knows and owns, if not one, multiple hat jacks.
Okay.
Essentially, what a hat jack is it's usually two-piece. It's like a I don't think it's a shoehorn, but when you put in like a mold into your shoes so that they'll keep.
My dad had these. It was like two pieces of wood, and he could use it to either hold the shape or stretch the shoe.
Yeah, right. So it's more or less the same thing, but the hat jack itself, you can kind of crank it so you can expand it out a little bit more. Used mostly with felt hats and cowboy hats, stuff like that, right? Well, I found this YouTube channel of this guy who specializes, like the whole channel is about shaping his New Era 5150 hats, because there is like a huge we all love the hats, but we all hate the crown that sits up so high, right? So what he has found is through using a hat jack, he steams it and then eventually molds it down to where it fits on your head. And I was trying to do it, but without the hat jack, I couldn't hold the hat in one place uniform enough to get a shape that would work. And Will Kent just printed one. He's like, yeah, I can probably do that. when I got up for work the next morning, it was sitting on the counter.
My only question is, because it sounds like that's a heated process as well, but is it just where you're steaming the hat, but then you're putting it on there, and in there the thermal transfer is greatly reduced?
Yeah. So you're steaming. So the hat jack goes on the inside, and that's what you're holding on to while you steam the outside. So the hat jack's on the inside. You're steaming the wool, because the hats are wool, on the outside. And the hat jack only goes around the brim, not the brim, just the circumference. It doesn't hold the top.
Mm-hmm.
The top you actually get a bump cap and put in at the same time to shape it.
Oh,
Which is
okay.
like an insert, like it's like a PPE light without being an actual helmet,
Gotcha.
safety helmet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
it's funny you mention that. I've been saving something to record some content with.
Ooh.
And naturally I haven't. So I'm going to take it out of the box now. Sometime later I'm going to be, oh, look what somebody just sent me. And I'm going to be pretending to open the box. I've been caught. Ooh, gotcha moment. Hold on here. So, but I'm excited about this because it is something that I'm hoping I also get to be involved in. But this was sent to me, and this is, I don't know who makes the hat itself. It's just the classics. Okay, good. Yeah, see, I've already taken it out of the box before too, because it's at the last two snaps, which any snapback, that's about as good as I'm gonna get, brother.
Yep.
So it's 2 snaps is optimism. That's what I like to. But this is from my friends at the Nerd Initiative, and you can find out more about them at nerdinitiative.com. They're just a collection of fandom that's coming together to be a safe place to interact and discuss, as well as be a news source and recap source. So they sent me this fine looking hat.
They're breaking down the gatekeepers.
Because man, look,
there's nothing worse in a fandom than a gatekeeper.
You and I live in 2 totally different worlds now. I want you to know this because, I'm so deep into social media and the TikTok. Yep. I know, first of all, it's made it very clear to me, Star Wars fans are toxic, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They are, there's no satisfying, and they are toxic. Nope. Or at least a majority of people that seem to be anyway, because I'm a Star Wars fan too. So, I'm not saying I am, but there
just
is
like wrestling fans.
There's a part of fandom that seems to be really toxic. And now we're finding out it's the same thing with Marvel. So in this case, it's just kind of like, let's just have a safe place to speak and come together or get information that's not biased or trashy or clickbaity. And I'm like, that sounds great. And then
awesome.
And then you're like, you want some stuff? And I said, hey, and this they sent to me, but it's a good
looking app.
Yeah. So in this situation though, when I'm putting this on, obviously it's not the New Era 5150 hat.
Right,
so I don't there's just a little puffiness right here where it comes above.
Yeah, in the crown right there. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
This is what you're speaking to.
Basically, like all hats have it. And this guy's YouTube channel is all about just getting it the shape. Because, hat shaping has been a thing, as long as men have been wearing, beaver pelts and felts.
Or trying to get a cheap ass hat, Walter White hat, to fit their head, and so let's stretch the brim a little bit.
Exactly, man.
I'm not speaking from
like
experience.
if you go down the rabbit hole, there are specialized steamers even just for hats.
See, I'm not, because next thing I know, Trent, I'm buying felt, and I'm like, I'm a troubadour. No, not a troubadour. Haberdasher. I'm a haberdasher.
Yes, there haberdasher. We go. Yeah, exactly.
I think a troubadour goes around and sings 2 totally different things. Yeah. Sometimes you may need one to get money from the other, and vice versa. But
yeah, it's not unlike the shark and the pariah.
I'm not out busking the streets trying to sing songs with my freshly made hat. I was just trying to jokingly say I would start making hats because one of the things I didn't get to show you during the 3D printing segment, I have this beautiful ukulele that was made for me by a coworker a few jobs ago. It is a gorgeous, and it's an arc top ukulele. So it's got a very deep, rich sound, and it's slightly bigger to try and play. still didn't help, but it's like I've never had a place for it. And I'm like, I wish I could just hang it on the wall, because it really is like a piece of art as well, because it's got this gorgeous white border, this beautiful blue bleed paint on it. I mean, it's just great. And you know, you have a 3D printer and suddenly it's like, let me go on Thangiverse or Thingiverse or whatever. And it's like, ukulele wall mount, boom, 10 minutes later, or actually it was about an hour later, it's hanging on the wall.
Yeah, well, God, and it comes down to like, you know what, John Hodgman said the difference between a collector and a hoarder is a display case, and I would say a stand, right? Like if you've got just a way to display things, you appreciate them more because you're not ashamed of them anymore,
Trent,
right?
the entire, in that case, my entire office is a display case.
That is the exact way I see it, though. Like recently I've gone through all my Marvel 3 3/4 figs and started putting them up on stands, and then I realized that I didn't have enough shelf space, so I had to build like bleachers for them to stagger themselves so that they could all fit. And
Trent,
it just I'm happy. It makes me so happy. I see them all the time now.
Trent. Do I see a Jay and Silent Bob pop back there next to Daniel LaRusso?
Actually. Yeah, there's Jay and Silent Bob, and right next to Ryu from the Street Fighter.
Ryu, okay. Well, I jokingly just said it was Daniel LaRusso, but I think I had a good shot. I think I had a good shot there. I had a shot. And
swept the
but
leg.
why is John Cena turning his back on us though? That is my question.
Well, for you not to be able to see him, he cannot see you.
Sorry. Like you become aware of some things finally, and you're like, that is just so funny. Anyway, 3D printing's dangerous. Where were we before I suddenly veered off into 3D printing again?
No, that's just the masks and talking about.
Okay.
Yeah,
never mind. We're good.
We didn't veer off anywhere, Will. We're right on track. We are like Hot Wheels, and on a Christmas morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, remember when you could get the tracks that you would clip together?
Yeah, with the weird plastic pieces going into plastic, and heaven forbid. Heaven forbid you get like right near the end of an awesome build. You still got somehow you still have 40 feet of track, but only one more of those plastic connectors.
Of the couplers. Yes, exactly, dude.
And I could bet you I could 3D print them. Ha!
Oh, shit, you totally could.
See? Owned. Anyway. Yeah, so that was my 3D printing adventure. Yes, I'm going to Comic-Con next week. I'll be very interested to see what kind of content I try to put together for that. I always go with the best of intentions, and then I completely fail. So I now have something that's foolproof. If I don't want to make it complex, but I want it to sound good, I have an Android phone that can use this microphone. I have an iPhone that can use this microphone.
Yep.
And it's just start shooting and have fun and see what comes together. But anyway, neither here nor there. I do not know how it's going to go. I do not know if I will be able to successfully con my way into Hall H again
you'll get it.
For the Marvel panel. But I'm going to try my darndest.
If anyone needs to make themselves look like they belong somewhere, it's you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can pull it off, dude.
I'm a little taller, but I could, if I'm wearing the cosplay outfit and I've got the mask on, maybe I can just go with a pair of Ray-Bans instead. And now I'm early.
You just grab some cables and an empty mixer that has no guts in it or anything. Keep it light. You could go anywhere you wanted to, man.
There you go. Yeah, I just got to get these back to the booth right now.
Yep.
What booth? Yeah, the AV booth in the back. I was like, oh, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I didn't even know the one was back there. Yeah, go. Hurry.
I know where the seam is in the curtain, Trent. I literally do. I lived that life. I'm living it again.
Side, you've got to have the tape there so they know where it's at. Otherwise, someone's gonna walk into a support mount.
We'll see. No promises, no expectations. You know, in this day and age, other than the cool stuff they run, which eventually gets leaked anyway, you're not really missing
yeah.
anything, not being there. And in this
No.
in this day and age, I'm sure everything will also be coordinated because again, why fight it? Why?
Yeah, lean into it, right? Like simulcast that shit. Like
Speaking
that's like ride that wave.
Speaking of which, so if you haven't seen Moon Knight, I know you have not seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet.
Correct.
But
This is correct.
So I am actually going to speak of this still in spoiler-free terms.
Oh, by all means, I live in a post-spoiler world, so don't let me don't hold back because of me, friend. Oh,
Trent, what I'll tell you is that this, I get what you're saying, but still, I mean, there are probably some people that still haven't seen it. This is only the week after. And, and even though we're recording this Wednesday, this will be dropping Friday or Saturday for everyone else, but our Patreon supporters get to go ahead and enjoy all of this wonderful content exclusively for a brief amount of time. But what I will say about this movie, without truly spoiling it, but while still alluding into some things, there are a lot of great things about this movie, thematically speaking, because the antagonist and a protagonist both have a calling from a mystical weapon. That mystical weapon is harming both of them when they use it, and in the end, the wielders of these present a situation where it is the choice between hate or love. And I thought that was something amazing, given that this was a Taika Waititi movie where you just expect to get nothing but comedy. The other thing that I truly loved about this movie is that they still found, while leaning heavier into the humor, a way to still tweak the formula, because each one of these solo movies is, here is the solo character, and eventually they experience the ordeal, what they have to overcome, and then they band others together and they win the day. In this, literally, I'm telling you, if you look at this movie as a whole, Thor continuously goes through the movie. Every encounter, there are less team members than before. And so,
so it's like the inverse model of all the others.
Exactly. Which again is a story I loved. Now the other thing too that I will say, and I don't mean to taint your view of it. However, I feel that this is kind of an important part. This whole story, this movie we're experiencing, is a tale being told to us by Korg. Because it like in the trailers, this one's right out there. He's like, let me tell you the story about the space Viking. So
in that amazing Kiwi accent.
Yes, and so it's a situation where this hyper reality story we are being told in some instances is because we have the unreliable narrator.
Yes,
and I just got to say unreliable narrator about a Marvel movie. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful romp, and especially as long as you go into it with exactly what you expect for it, which is just distract me from the world for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Totally.
You know?
It's summertime, right, man? Give me those summer blockbusters. That's what summertime movies should be all about. Is just like having fun and like hanging out and taking your pants off when you go to a steakhouse once in a while.
No, that's still not allowed. I mean, I don't know what it's like in Salt Lake, but it seems like a pretty conservative area.
Thanks a lot, Obama.
That's what I'm saying. So Thor and Love and Thunder got a big, I mean, I enjoyed it so much. I saw it with Emily on Thursday night and then promptly said, you're really going to like this, honey. Why don't we see it Sunday morning during the cheaper showing? And Blair ended up coming with us too. So that was my parental judgment call.
Did it, because I know I am of a large, like a small minority, I guess, because a large minority would almost make it a majority, but that really enjoyed the second Thor movie. Did this make you want to give the Dark World a second chance at all?
Actually, I have recently been revisiting many of the movies while not adhering to any structure. And the Thor movies are ones that I recently went through, probably prompted by one of the trailers dropping. But
Yeah.
I had recently gone through them because I always felt, I was really harsh on the Dark World. And is it really that bad of a movie? And, my opinion is that it's not. It was actually it was a good movie. And, I know what it was. It was seeing Ragnarok prompted me, like one of the times. Because Ragnarok is Denise's favorite of the Marvel movies. It is. If there were a playback counter on Disney Plus or our library for Thor Ragnarok, that's the one that is. And I don't blame her because it's the best. But it takes elements and makes them more enjoyable when you go back and watch The Dark World. When you hear the actual dramatic music playing, that the chorus makes almost mocks in the play of Ragnarok.
Oh, yes, yeah.
The that's actually that is actually the music. They're playing this dramatized version. And distance makes the heart grow fonder. And in this case, that's when you start to remember the funny things of like, oh yeah, during like phase 2, I think it was, there was always somebody losing an arm in the entertainment media, even right down to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Phil Coulson lost one.
Yes.
And in that movie, Thor loses his in the illusion that's being cast. So, it's like, it was just, it made Dark World a lot more enjoyable. The plot is still just weird, and I still have a problem with like Thor's sudden entrance. It's like, I don't know, like I would have expected more of the crashing and the sound of the Bifrost really distracting the shit out of us off screen. Instead,
absolutely.
He
shows up.
He's just like, there he is in the archway.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and of that movie, like I felt that they like the Dark Elf battle and everything. I want to see that whole movie. Like it's not even like an act. It's just an introduction at the very beginning. Like I could watch that whole movie in and of itself.
Instead of the late 80s metal band album cover we briefly got at the beginning of the movie.
Seriously, it's so like, and that's it, man.
They keep recreating those moments now in these movies too. There's always one where you're like, that would make an awesome metal band album cover. Oh, that would make an awesome album cover. That would make an awesome.
And then they made a movie that was based off of an album cover.
Yeah. So yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder, big thumbs up for me. And yeah, Dark World, I think it's good to kind of go back and give them all a chance. Although admittedly, I think I was reading something else when I went back over the original Thor. So but all that said, the last thing I kind of want to hit on, because it just wrapped up what is it? Yesterday, because today's Thursday, right? I don't know.
It is Thursday.
Miss Marvel on the MCU on Disney Plus finished up. And Trent, I got to tell you, I'm very interested to hear your opinion, because I believe this was the best executed MCU Disney Plus show of them all.
Now that's interesting. I've yet to watch it. All I know about it of all the interpretations of character, it is the one that deviates the furthest from the source material.
Well, I'll tell you right now, they definitely cast the right lead, because the actress whose name I cannot remember, forgive me, but she just really embraces the character. And then during the EPK that you can also watch on Disney Plus, you find out that she was a big Miss Marvel fan as a kid, being excited about seeing, someone like her on the cover. So then hearing that like this realistically her first acting gig becoming that character, it just, as a fan, it blows my mind. But she's also completely adorable.
And I cannot imagine like how like a casting director that is yoked with finding a lead, not only a young actor, but maybe like less experienced. Because there's nothing that can pull me out of a movie faster than a kid who's acting like he's acting, rather than just being in the scene. Oh God, it's the worst.
Not in play here, man. Not in play here.
Good,
It just
okay.
it was the best
That
pulled
actually
off.
that has me really excited because I love the source material, and they kind of screwed themselves with ever using the Inhumans in the MCU with their TV show that tanked horribly.
Okay, Trent,
Oh.
I got to blow something. I got to do it. I'm sorry.
Do it.
Spoilers,
make it happen.
folks. You got a warning right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, whatever. There's a moment in the season finale where somehow she's got a best friend that is also a geneticist and a biomechanical engineer, because he could in an earlier episode somehow with a tablet could tell that the power was somehow coming from her in getting her
Not
powers,
replacement.
which you'll see how it happens.
Okay.
And he says, but it's not just that. There's something, Kamala, there's something different about you. There's like a mutation.
Interesting.
Now, I say all this because you have to think, now take a step back. 20th Century Fox had the rights to everything mutant. So, knowing they're going into movies, the Marvel publishing titles pivot from mutants to Inhumans, right?
They
And
did, yeah.
Miss Marvel comes up in that time, and there's no way she's not going to be considered an Inhuman because they're not going to give 20th Century Fox rights to that character that it
No
became
way.
very popular. But now, what's his name? Ike Perlmutter is not involved at all.
Right.
Kevin Feige's in charge, and he's like, you know what? It's okay that she's a mutant because we only came up with that because of this.
Because we couldn't do it in the first place. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's interesting, man. Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah. Now, last question I have about it. One of my all-time top 3 favorite Marvel characters has been kind of her sidekick in the comics for a long time, but he's an Inhuman, Lockjaw, the dog.
No,
We
Ciders.
get along-
No. Sorry, man. But I'll tell you that again, this is really well acted. It's really well put together, and most importantly, considering this is a story about a girl from Jersey suddenly being thrust into this.
Not just Jersey City, my friend.
Yeah,
Shit is raw in Jersey City.
you couple all of that together. And the important thing is it's not an unrealistic story, and the stakes aren't too high. You know what I mean?
Dude, and that's like this newest generation of Marvel IP, at least from the source material, they've done such a good job of doing that, making these characters aspirational, right? So that you can see reflections of yourself in them. We can't see ourselves, like, you know, sometimes it takes a cognitive leap to see yourself as Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
But like people like, you know, like Squirrel Girl, like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Miss Marvel. It is a more relatable character, despite the fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for the time you get to see that, but since you haven't even seen Moon Knight, which is that was bonkers, but
Yeah, I
it
can
was
only imagine.
It was okay. It was good. I mean, I think everybody thematically had some issues with the way that story plays out. But the one thing I will also spoil about Thor: Love and Thunder is that every character, including Miss Marvel minus Spider-Man because of IP rights, is in the opening Marvel Studios logo. Like from Moon Knight,
really?
everybody up to that point is represented, and that keeps happening with all the shows too. So
Heroes and villains, or just heroes?
I've only noticed the heroes, my friend.
Okay, yeah.
But
'Cause, gosh,
I mean, Moon Knight's in there.
anti-hero, yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Castle.
No. None of the I wouldn't say none of the Netflix shows yet, although they are on Disney Plus now. I'm sure you know that. Right?
And they're we've seen Wilson Fisk make the jump, and it's been speculated that the Daredevil actor is going to be recast as the same character.
Yeah. No, that's Feige came out and said that
Yeah.
you know, before No Way Home came out, he said if there's a Matt Murdock in the MCU, it would be Charlie Cox. And then after I sent you the code, I'm sure you did finally watch No Way Home.
Yes.
And as you saw, suddenly there's Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox. Yep.
Still, by the way, amazingly rewatchable movie. God, I love No Way Home. Man, yeah, there's so much media you're just missing out on. But you know what? Movies are somebody else's dream, and you got to make your own, right?
True that.
There you go. So anyway, boy, that's all the nerdy crap I really wanted to talk about. I don't know. You got anything you wanted to speak to today?
I'm currently listening to a book. I cannot recommend it enough. It's called All the Marvels. The guy is a pop culture critic, like he writes about pop culture or pop music. Excuse me. He's a pop music critic, and he's a big Marvel fan. So he read all the Marvel comic books, all 60,000, some 40,000, some odd, and he has given you a very accessible, anti-gatekeeping, fun, especially if you're listening to it, way to learn everything there is to know about the Marvel universe. And he even gives like different, like the first like third of the book is just how to access it. Like where do you start? Like why? It's amazing. So good. It's called All the Marvels. Cannot recommend it enough.
Noted. Thank you very much, Trent.
Yeah.
It is running a little late, but if we take 5 minutes, I do have one more little story I can share. Because as I was looking at my phone, my iPhone 13, I believe, it is new. Let me tell you a story about how I got here. And it also comes back to, if you're going to be a Karen or a Chad, commit to the bit and see it through.
Okay.
Very long story short, my daughter Emily was under the impression that her iPhone was dead. It was not working anymore because she couldn't send text messages.
Oh, not bricked, but like it was having some issues.
Yeah. No matter, she could receive text messages, couldn't send them, wanted another phone anyway, and we were ready for an upgrade. We were eligible because I hadn't realized I've had the same damn phones through the entire pandemic.
Yeah.
Before then, and I never even questioned upgrading because it was just that little part of my life now.
Yeah.
So she wanted an upgrade. I'm like, you know what? Fine. The kid's graduating. We can do this.
Totally.
By the way, I'm also a horse owner. That's a story for another time. Well, technically, legally, contractually, she is. But anyway, the phone was having an issue. So I'm like, well, what do you want? She said what she wanted. I went on the website. I got a replacement. And I'm like, it'll be here in 2 to 3 days. And because she is still in her teens, that would have meant death, apparently. That there was something that would have happened. The world, my friend, stops.
You are cutting, like that's cutting off the pipeline that is their life force.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
That's what was happening. So I said, okay, that's fine. We'll find one locally. Let me just cancel this. And I go to cancel it. I get the email, and the email says, you can cancel anytime up to shipping. And I'm like, great. So I go into my account, nothing in there. Like, what? Nothing in there. I continue. I try and call them, like, oh, sir, it's no, I hadn't called them yet. But I'm trying, and there's nothing in my account. Nothing in my account. Nothing in my account. The next thing that shows up in my account is just a shipment notification. That's it. Just the ship. So I've gone from
6 to midnight.
Yeah.
Like that.
In rage. So I get somebody, I explain the situation. I'm like, look, we both know this hasn't shipped. This isn't acceptable. I'm going to go get my kid a phone today. I don't need this one. Why bother shipping it out? And somehow it got from, can you help me, to, if we can't do anything about this, I will leave AT&T. I will leave. I will be gone. I shall take my business henceforth elsewhere.
You'll vote with your wallet.
Right. But most of the time, too much of a wimp to commit. I can finally get some type of acquiescence, and then we can get through it. Not in this time, my brother. I crawled way up the corporate ass, trying to find that polyp of hope. Man, that's a visual.
Something to hold on to. It's so just less slippery.
Yeah, that we could just cancel this order. They wouldn't make it happen. Now, at the very end, while I'm doing there, I'm like, well, what does Verizon have going on? Trent, not only did I hold true and take my business to AT&T,
Holy shit.
everyone has new phones, and I'm actually saving money. Saving money, because Verizon's like, yeah, we used to be known as the really expensive ones,
One, right? Yeah.
but we've leveled the playing field. Like all of the credits I got for being a new account, I'm like, first of all, I'm not paying a bill for 3 months.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, but the whole thing was, it just felt really good for me to actually follow through. But I gotta admit, the only reason why I got there is because Denise looked at me and said, "So, where are we getting phones from? You said you were leaving," and I'm like,
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you went full Costanza at that point.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, we're doing it. That's it. Oh, whoa. I didn't know I could do George.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was great.
But yeah, that was it. She's just like, well, you said you were going to do it. It's just like, nut up or shut up. And I was just like, all righty.
It's true, dude. Yeah.
This is it. I'm doing it. And I did.
And it worked out, dude.
It really did, but it was so funny. The only bad thing was, I think that actually might have been a day where I had reached out to you about potentially recording, and basically that ordeal became the entire like 3/4 of the day.
Right. Yeah. I can only imagine. Well, and plus added on top of that, like there's the pressure of escalating. There's the pressure of escalating it. Shit, I've gone too far.
Yeah.
Now what are we going to do?
Yep.
Then the adrenaline of like, holy shit, everything worked out.
Yeah. It was a real hero's journey for me. You know what I mean?
It really was. Yeah. You and Homer.
Yeah, it was something. I wanted to share it though, because honestly speaking, I felt like such a stupid asshole for like even saying I'd take my business elsewhere. Because let me tell you something, the phone calls got longer because I said them, like, all right, sir, well, in that case, I'm going to have you call our retention department.
Oh, God.
Because now it's supposed to be somebody specialized to do whatever they could to make sure I stay.
They're like, our script doesn't have anything for this. What do I do?
No, he's really going. The whole thing that was really frustrating for me in it was just that many moons ago, I actually worked for AT&T, and I know the reason why it's so dysfunctional. It's because it's this massive network of things that have been pieced together, and they kind of work, but they don't quite work all friendly and nice. And that was the situation. The system just did what it was going to do, and there was nothing anyone could do, because now it's officially in a ship state, so they can't do anything about it. And, in the end, it arrived, and, it was so stupid. And by the way, if you want to know if I subscribe to the House of Petty, I do, because as I said, that phone shipped. It arrived here. And their people on the phone told me I needed to take it to the local AT&T corporate store to return it. And I'll be goddamned if I didn't use the bag my Verizon phones came home with me in.
Oh, shit, that is awesome.
To bring the phone in. Like, yeah, I need to return this.
Awesome. Are you sure you got it here, sir? No, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, trust me. They told me to come here. And in the end, of course, naturally, they couldn't. They didn't. They weren't able to actually return it at the store. So then I had to take it back home. His phone again, which in itself was an art. I mean, like the whole thing, it was just like every time AT&T involved, it was complete dysfunction. Verizon, however, is like, by the way, do you get any of these tax documents? Okay, well then you could be a business account instead, and that's how I've got more incentives and better rates.
Yep. Yeah, it's true.
So I'm a business, Trent. I'm a businessman. I got business account. I'm business.
You're doing science too.
I'm putting in the time, doing the science. Put liquid paper on a bee.
Paper on a bee's wings. And
it died. Oh man, I love Step Brothers. Anyway, yeah, that's it, guys. We got nothing else. We're done. We're done with this. The guy's tired of listening to me talk.
Stick a fork in us.
We're done.
We're done.
But thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, either nobody's there or the chat didn't work. It's one or the other, Trent, 50%.
Yeah, and hey, better odds than Vegas.
Exactly. So if we're supposed to interact and we couldn't, I apologize. I'll get it worked out next time. Honestly speaking, we set all this up And then like literally I went to go do something. I came back in and we're like 5 minutes of, and the encoding computer had blue screened, which I'm like, this version of Windows can still do that? And apparently, Trent, yes, it can.
Huh.
Yeah. So it had a different kind of blue screen and it restarted. Thankfully, it's been with us the whole way. But again, nobody cares about the behind the scenes stuff. You just care about the good talk. And I hope you experience some with us tonight. I know I always enjoy talking to my good friend Trent, just in the same way that I liked talking with Tony, which was funny because he instantly came in and he said, well, Will, if I can make any guess, it's you've got a type, because baseball cap, beard, I'm just saying. He just needed the glasses, and then he had some. What do you know? It was nuts. But anyway, I always enjoy talking to you, and I always enjoy speaking at all of you. So very much appreciate each and every one of you. Again, welcome, Zach, as a Patreon subscriber. Welcome back, Sean. We are so happy to have you. Until next time, my name's Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we will be back
soon.
With Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker, signing off.
I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a Smodco Internet production. Sip. Only at smodcast.com. Trying to wrap up the show. Just, let's close it down. I don't know what's going on. Dogs are barking like nuts out there. You can't hear that?
No, huh? Like, is it like is there an intruder in the home?
Nobody's messaged me. I don't know. Fingers crossed, man. You hear that?
I did hear that actually.
Yeah, that's Yuki. She got a mouth on her.
Aw.
As you
Sweet
can hear.
girl.
She actually is. Oh, I know what it is. My wife and Emily went to the fancy Red Circle store while we were doing this. They've probably or either they hadn't left yet and they're leaving now, or they are returning and still outside.
Yep.
So yeah, because that's.
Yep.
I'll know you're breaking into my garage if you've somehow opened the door and Yuki thinks somebody's coming home.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
That's what that was. So
it is the safest, possibly most expensive alarm system you'll ever have.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, man, dude, I took them for their wellness checks last week. Why do I have dogs? Why? Why?